Nigeria is often described as a secular state, but in schools across the country, children growing up believe that religion is compulsory. Few students are asked what they believe or whether they believe anything at all. Within these institutions, young minds are seen as empty slates to be filled rather than spaces to be explored. For many, childhood memories include morning assemblies that began with prayers, never questions, a fellowship gathering treated as mandatory, and teachers projecting their personal beliefs as universal truths. Few students are aware that alternative worldviews ever existed. As a result, the system did not merely teach religion, it normalized the notion that non-belief was abnormal. This raises a fundamental question. Does Nigerian society truly understand freedom of thought, or has it simply inherited systems that value conformity over curiosity? Let's talk about the historical and legal context. Section 38, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution guarantees freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including the freedom to change religion or belief and to manifest or propagate such belief in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. However, the lived reality often differs from constitutional ideals. Historically, formal education in Nigeria emerged from religious missions. During the colonial era, schools were designed not just for literacy but also for conversion. Christian missionaries built schools to civilize African children, blending Bible studies with arithmetic, morning prayers with attendance, and religious hymns with English pronunciation drills. Following independence, the Nigerian government established state schools with secular mandates. Yet remnants of missionary ethos persisted. In response, Muslim community, particularly in the north, created their own faith-based schools to preserve Islamic education. Consequently, both public and private schools today treat religious instructions as part of education's natural order. In public schools today, despite being funded by a multi-religious nation, morning assemblies often begin with prayers rooted in a single dominant faith: Christianity in the south and Islam in the north. Religion in education has thus been institutionalized not by constitutional degree, but through historical inertia and societal consent. So, for the religious studies, curricula typically include Christian religious knowledge, CRK, and Islamic religious knowledge, IRK. Students are often assigned classes based on declared faith with little provision for alternatives such as comparative religion or philosophy of religion. Religion is taught as dogma rather than an exploration of worldview. We also have compulsory worship or fellowship. Many schools integrate fellowship gathering into weekly timetable, and non-participation is often viewed as defiance. Teacher influence. Teachers project personal beliefs onto students, ranging from casual derogatory comments about idol worship or public praise for their recitation of Bible or Quranic verses. Admission policies too. Some faith-based schools require religious entry tests or denominational references, even while operating under government approval. So we are going to explore the societal impacts and the human costs of this. What are the consequences for students who do not align with the dominant faith of their school? What do you think it is? Students from minority religion include traditionalists, humanists, and less dominant denominations often describe a sense of invisibility. One student shared, "During assembly prayers, I close my eyes, but I am not praying. I am just waiting for it to be over, so no one thinks I am disrespectful." Another recalled, "In CRK class, I was told my father's religion was demonic. I didn't tell my parents, I just sat there, silent." Beyond personal trauma, the system risks entrenching societal division. Teaching children that salvation is exclusive to their own path fosters prejudice against others. However, proponents argue that morning prayers instill discipline, a moral compass, and a sense of unity, especially for students from broken homes who find their only spiritual enclosure in schools. But the critical question remains, does moral instruction require religious imposition? Let's find out. Philosophical and ethical consideration. Let's explore the philosophical and ethical consideration of this. Philosophers have long questioned the ethics of imposing belief on developing minds. Spiritual teachers, Sadhguru noted that it is the height of human arrogance to assume the cosmos assigns individuals a specific purpose, similarly assuming the right to assign beliefs to children whose minds are still forming. It's an act of arrogance. Should schools teach religion, or should they teach about religion? A belief imposed is simply a thought unexamined, and unexamined thoughts produce individuals who follow blindly and never question why. When generations are raised without questioning what they believe, are they being developed into thinkers or merely manufactured into obedient bodies carrying untested ideas? So we are going to check the comparative analysis. In France, public schools operate under strict secularism. The 1905 law separates church and state forbids religious expression within government institutions, including schools. No prayer, no faith-based classes, no religious symbols. Critics argue that erase cultural identity and marginalize devout students. Supporters assert it creates an equitable environment for all. Saudi Arabia lies at the opposite end of the spectrum, embedding religion deeply in education with daily Quranic recitations and Islamic jurisprudence classes. While these preserve faith, it limits inclusivity. Nigeria stands between these extremes, constitutionally secular but deeply religious in practice. The critical question is whether religion should be taught, but how it should be taught in a way that honors diversity and protects freedom of thought. We are going to explore policy recommendations for this. If education is to uphold true freedom of thought, policymakers may consider this. Introducing comparative religious studies, exploring multiple faiths, philosophies, and ethical systems, making all religious activities optional and non-discriminatory, ensuring students can opt out without stigma, strengthening civic education and unifying subjects to teach moral reasoning, critical thinking, and national values beyond religious boundaries, training teachers to remain neutral and professional in religious diverse classroom. So we have this question for national reflection. Who decides the religious curriculum in schools? How do students of minority faiths navigate these structures silently? What are teachers' personal views on compulsory religious activities? Are parents aware, concerned, or complicit in the subtle indoctrination? What do educational policy frameworks such as UPEC, NERDC state about religion in public school and how these guidelines are enforced? So, here's a conclusion, rethinking freedom in education. Freedom of thought is not merely about offering options, it's about empowering individuals with the confidence to choose. If the goal of education is to build thinkers, then perhaps the focus should shift from teaching children what to believe towards equipping them with the tools to think critically and decide for themselves. Faith that is chosen will always hold more power than faith that is forced. So, what are your memories of religion in schools? Did it shape you or silence you? Share your reflection as Nigeria rethinks the meaning of education and freedom. Thank you very much for joining us at ATN 360. See you on the other side.